Yeah, hey, Woodstock here. Hope everyone's doing okay out there. And appreciate you showing up. Here we're going on some different tangent this time. Not your normal face. This one's gonna, I call it the sharp tongue. It's basically more emotion driven. And it's gonna have his mouth open in an act of saying something or laughing. It's whatever comes to mind as a viewer looks at it. And he's going to have a pointed tongue, meaning sharp tongue. More or less, it's a little play on words there, but could be a acerbic comment the guy's making, or could be a compliment. We won't know until we feel it in ourselves. So, yeah, right now I'm using the saburrtooth spherical burr, the newer one. Normally I use a larger spear for starting out, but I switched over because that other burr was over 10 years old and it just doesn't have the cutting power as this one does. But yeah, it's about time I get some new burrs here. Doesn't hurt to invest in new tools. But anyway, using the Dremel 370 as well. Using my startup tool. Then I'll switch over to Stylo Plus. But yeah, this one just came out. I just had some idea to do something different this time, as opposed to having the basic face with the mouth closed and stuff. So I want to have something where it's a act of speaking, kind of frozen in time piece. And yeah, I think it works out well, as you'll see later on. It comes together quite well. But this one was pretty much a difficult one to do because you're trying to nail in all the musculature of the face as its mouth is wide open. I had to use a few reference photos off the internet and stuff, which is always a good thing because my memory on this one is not as good as a normal face would be. I have to bounce around, look at different imagery. Yeah, the project time on this was surprisingly not as long as I thought it would be. It was about an hour and a half real time. And I shrunk it down to, I think, about 14 minutes. If I'm not mistaken. I gotta check on that. But it's at 6 times the normal speed. So things are moving along pretty rapidly. But if you guys prefer these faster time-lapse ones, or if you want to see a real-time one, let me know. I'll change it up the next time around. I'm just not really fond of the real-time ones because it just seems like it just drags on and on and on. And it's rather boring, I'd say. Because I take a more methodical approach to carving. It's not like speed carving per se. But nevertheless, if you all desire to see a real-time video, I'll be happy to throw one up here occasionally, or however often it suits the needs. So yeah, just as we were talking here, the face started coming into fruition within 5-6 minutes here now. And the reason why I started the sharp tongue thing, it just came out by accident. I said, you know what? I don't want to make a really perfect looking tongue. I want to try something different, something that's kind of weird, something that's not normal. Just push the boundaries a bit instead of using a typical tongue. At first, I was going to do a fork tongue, but that's too kind of cliche, I thought. But I decided to go with the pointed tongue, which just seems kind of unusual. You don't see that very much. And so it fell into place more or less. Another reason for doing this particular face is, I was always inspired by this German-Austrian sculptor, Franz Xaver Messerschmidt, who made these crazy sculptures from the 1700s around that time with some super wild expressions on their faces. So yeah, definitely check this guy out if you're into expression faces like that. This guy really captures all the musculature and nuances. So yeah, it's always good to be inspired by something or someone. Yeah, I tried to borrow some ideas from Franz, but he's pretty much a master. I can't achieve that quite yet. But I'm not trying to mimic him or copy his stuff, but just to get some ideas, more or less. Yeah, I just found out about this Franz guy just by cruising around on the internet, and some of his stuff popped up. Just grabbed my attention more or less. So always interested in the other sculptors and carvers out there. I think he's predominantly used bronze casting techniques. Yeah, I'm using this saburrtooth elongated flame burr or whatever. Tapered burr, I guess you can call it. But it works really well with tight areas, details, if you want to put in some depth around the eyes, especially inside the mouth, kind of hollow it out a little more. But you got to be mindful of that thing because it can get bound up easy if it gets in a tight spot. It can just seize up and stuff, so you got to be kind of mindful of that. Yeah, I can't stress enough using reference material for work like this, especially the Franz Messerschmidt comes in handy when you're trying to pull off some pieces like this. And the thing about his work, you could find numerous angles of his faces on the internet, not just straight on shots, but you got angle shots, side views, pretty much every angle you can need to accomplish like a piece similar to his. Another option is making faces in the mirror, exaggerated facial poses, and then take pictures of that. That's another quick and easy way to get material for reference material for your faces. Or if you have someone willing enough to do it for you, you can take a picture of them if you're embarrassed by your own face or something like that. Either way, there's always different ways to obtain reference for different faces. The thing about the human face, though, it's got so many different emotional aspects to it, more so than typical animals, but animals do show different emotions, but mostly it's covered by fur or feathers and you can't really tell as much. I think dogs have a good way of expressing their faces. Sometimes they look like they're happy and sometimes they're sad. So they come somewhat close to human ability to make some emotional style faces. Depending on how much fur is covering their face. If you got a sheepdog, they're pretty much covered in fur. You can't see what's going on with them. But like a short-haired dog, yeah, you can definitely see something going on there. Yeah, with this piece, I was dissatisfied with it, so I just went back to carving more material off the sides of the cheeks there. I thought it needed more definition. And this is after the fact that I put some linseed oil on it. So I had to do a change up on that. But no problem with that. You can always go back over and put more oil preservative after you're done with the new one. So you can see right there it needs a bit more work there on the cheekbones. So more or less unsatisfied with that, so I had to go back and modify it again. So now I'm putting in even more slightly minuscule details on the face, which I think only enhances the piece more. It doesn't detract away from the overall appearance at all, but it's necessary, I think, to constantly analyze the face and see what needs to be done or modified. Well, it looks like we're reaching the end of this session, and really appreciate it. Big shout out to everyone there that's always coming around. All you people out there, I really appreciate it. So we'll see you on the next one. Take care. Keep your tools sharp.